nighttime. And I gotta get out of here, man. This snow is getting ridiculous. Gotta go make sure horses are all good. Before I go, I have one email I'm gonna share before my phone gets absolutely soaked. All right, listen to this one. Steve, thank you for this platform. It gives me the courage to tell our story for the first time. I can't give my husband's name. He has a high position in our community. And even if the mention would, okay, I'm going to pass all that because there's sleuth detectives who can figure out who you are. Thank you for your name. I'll save that too. We're no shit kind of people. We accept no lies and tell it painfully straight aways. And tell it painfully straight always. All right, her husband's a prominent figure in their city, in their town. Everybody knows these people, all right? And due to that, they got to keep their anonymity. Is that a word? Anonymity. They got to keep anonymous. And I'm not going to give out any clues to where they are, okay? We're soulmates since 1977. Married in 86, still together. 43 years. We camped, hunted, and fished always. Hell, we even lived in a tent in the woods, not out of necessity, but because we wanted the experience. Okay, here's the story. Boat camping spot trip 1982, Lake Ozette, Washington State, Plympic Peninsula. I'll try to attach a map of the area. Boated across the lake to our remote spot, plus a game trail that led to the Pacific Ocean. On the way, oh, by the way, we had a tri-hull so we could beach and land pretty much anywhere we wanted to. As we found the perfect haul out, nice little beach spot on the far side of the lake. We were slowly motoring in, me watching for underwater obstacles, rocks, logs, etc. I noticed freshwater clams everywhere near shore. I told the old man. He said, okay, he would set up camp and you do your gathering from nature. I told the old man, he said, okay, he would set up camp and you do your gathering from nature thing. We'll do a rustic dinner over the campfire. Yum. Sundown was 45 minutes away, so we put the hustle on to get set up. I gathered some clams, wild garlic onions, some nettles, etc. Man, that was going to be a dinner and a half. While I was gathering, the smell hit me. Oh God, nope, I've smelled that before. Dirty, wet dog, times 100. Our own dog, Smokey, started to go into protection mode. He moved forward, starting sniffing around, and then he did the strangest thing. He practically shit himself in fear. I thought, oh, this isn't going to end well. He spun and started running towards Dad. I spun, got 2 steps, and the growl went up my spine to my brain and froze me like ice. All my senses said, run. My brain said, nope, stay frozen. Okay, frozen it is. I could hear him very close behind me. I guess the dog must have alerted my husband because all of a sudden he's standing in front of me, terror on his face, his eyes fixed behind me. He said, honey, slowly now, come to me. All I remember was being folded in his arms as he picked me up and ran for the boat, screaming, Smokey, get in the boat. We got within feet of the boat. That's when the rocks the size of baseballs to basketballs started hitting all around us. He threw me into the bow, jumped behind the controls, started the 150-horse Johnson, threw it in reverse. Just then, a huge rock flew overhead and absolutely demolished the upper half of the boat motor. Now we're feet from shore, no motor, and under attack. The screaming, growling, stomping, rock flying. My God, is it ever going to stop? We oar out as far away as possible and did get safely enough so that the barrage couldn't reach us anymore. We stopped probably a good 50 feet or more from shore and just huddled in the boat in a giant hug, dog included. More stomping, growling, screeching. We both turned to look at our sight. It was absolutely torn apart by this being. Huge, 7 to 8 feet tall, face like a man but hairy. Muscles on muscles, hair a dark golden brown. Bigfoot. We oared all night to get across the lake to the boat launch. Spoke with the local indigenous man who ran the launch site. Told him my story. He just shook his head, said, he's at it again. He doesn't like it when people camp in his clam bed site. I'll have to speak to the elders. That was it. End of story, or so we thought. Ozette was indigenous people land in those years. Some still is. 2 weeks after our encounter, the DNR, Department of National Resources, stepped in and closed not only camping the far end of the lake, but also the trail to the ocean. Reason stated, rogue bear and lion attacks on campers and hikers. Bullshit. We found out 1 week after us, a hiker on the beach trail disappeared. Related, I don't know, but it remains closed to humans to this day. The nightmares have never gone away. I don't think they ever will. Oh, and on a side note, I worked my entire life assisting a medical examiner. My husband, 3 tours of duty in Vietnam. Like I said, no BS people. Thank you, Steve. Keep it up. You help a lot of people. You just helped me by letting it rip out of its dark place. What a shit-eating experience that must have been. That is every single human being's nightmare that you just that you and your husband lived through that day. Olympic Peninsula. I grew up. I could see the Olympic Peninsula across the ocean from my bedroom window as a kid when I grew up in Victoria. It sure looks mountainous and gnarly over there. I always wanted to. I could put up binoculars later on in life, in my 20s when I was hunting a lot and fishing, and I always looked across there and wondered about going over there and how the hunting must be on those slopes. And I've no doubt in my mind these things are over there too. They're everywhere, right? But I've never been to the Olympics. I wouldn't mind going there sometime. I'd imagine it's fairly remote. I'm thinking outside of Port Angeles. Port Angeles is straight across from us. But what an interesting share. I guess it wouldn't take too much for any of you listening to look up whether or not you can get the human access is blocked on that trail, right? And I wonder if David Plaitis knows about that particular person going missing on that trail. I'd imagine he does. He's on top of all that stuff. What an experience. What an aggressive attack. That sucks. He demolished your boat motor. I mean, like, what a dumbass. He wants you to leave. Why kill your motor, right? But again, obviously, it's obvious that these things that happen, they just want you to leave. I mean, something like that, if it wanted your ass, it would have grabbed you and your husband both by the necks like this, I'm sure, and picked you up like a pair of frickin' pieces of corn on the cob and walked away with you easily. Or tore your head off with a basketball-sized boulder like nothing, but they don't, on average. But I guess, like I said before, the people that do experience violence directed at ending their lives, obviously they're not going to be around to tell us about it, right? So, but anyway, that's it for now. I got to get my butt in gear and make sure those horses are eating fine. Go home and get dried off and set the alarm for 4:30 and get up and climb these mountains again in the morning. But if you want to share, get something off your chest, you want to share that experience that you had, that life-altering experience, you can email into me at sharemystoryhowtohunt.com or tellmystoryhowtohunt.com, and we'll get to it. And you can tell by the people emailing these encounters in, obviously it's helping a lot of people, right? There's no bullshit here, and nothing's being held back, and it's all about you. It's not about organizations and groups, the researcher groups. It's about all of you, and that's how it should be. Anyway, hope everybody's safe out there and having a good time, and I'll be back. There's enough juice in that thing. I got a short one here I can add on, get this read for this person who emailed this in to me. Then I'll get out of here. Hey Steve, here's my experience. I never saw anything but heard very strange things. My name is Lucas Jones, and I live in North Georgia on the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. The first time I was up late drinking with my neighbor outside, this is around 2010, around 0200. Neighbor went inside to use the bathroom, so I was outside alone. Suddenly, dogs all over town started to bark. It sounded like 1,000 dogs barking and howling at once. Then I heard something I can't even describe. It sounded like a lion, a bear, and a human all screaming together at once. It was very loud, and I could feel it in my chest. When neighbor came back, I had a hard time telling what I heard. He looked at me like I was crazy. Then around 2015, I was out stargazing with my telescope. Again, around 0200, I heard the exact same thing again, dogs and all. except this time is much closer sounding. I got that feeling that I should scram, so I did. Both times this happened to me, the moon is approximately in the same phase, about halfway full. Thanks, Steve. God bless Lucas. Thanks for that, Lucas. And if you've been listening to all these emails on my channel, I'm pretty sure you know by now that you're not alone. Strange things have been heard literally thousands of times. And obviously, mainstream media is not going to touch honest truth with anybody anytime soon. And neither is big tech. the two worst enemies to mankind today, as far as I'm concerned. So that's more reason for me why I'm doing this. Is we all have got to stick together and share honest knowledge with each other and help each other, right? That's all we got. All we got is each other. So don't be scared. If you've seen it, if you heard it, share it. Okay? That's what I'm doing.